Hi friends, it's Lethea from Farmview Creators. Today I have a special guest. My niece Mackenzie is going to craft with us. I'm going to work on the NOEL Shelf Sitter from the Rust Covered Cottage by Christina and Mackenzie.
Hi, I'm going to be doing a sign that says home and hello.
And so I am going in with my DecoArt Buttermilk acrylic paint, and I'm giving one coat on the front of each of the standing up pieces of Noel. And then once that's dry, I will work on the back side.
And I'm using purple for the background of the sign.
And I love how it has some sparkle to it too. Mackenzie loves sparkles. All right, so I am getting that coat on the front of all of my Noel pieces and letting that dry. I'm gonna give that a dry with my heat tool just to kind of speed up the process.
And I'm finishing up with the purple. Then I'm gonna do the sign, the word.
And once my coat on the front of my Noel sign was dry, I flipped it over and I actually put two coats on the back because that is going to be visible where I plan on setting the shelf sitter. It's going to be kind of on the table separating my dining area and my living room. So I want that backside to look finished. I'm only going to use one coat on the front because we are going to decoupage over top of it.
Now I'm gonna do the sunflowers to it and adding yellow and brown.
Yes, and I love that periwinkle color that you used on your hello sign. It looks really pretty with your purple background. Very good choices on your colors there. So I'm getting all of my Noel pieces dried up, and now I'm going to work on the baseboard for it. It actually comes with 3 pieces. I'm going to use my Van Dyke Brown Antiquing Glaze. I love this antiquing gel. It just goes on really smoothly. I do use a terry cloth covered sponge when I am applying my stain, and I just did one coat to the top piece of the 3 pieces that are going to glue together. And then I have some vintage Yuletide Christmas papers. These were printables that I got off of Etsy, and I printed it on rice paper. And I'm going to add that second coat of paint to the back side, and then we will get started decoupaging.
And I'm gonna go ahead and do a second layer since I finished my sunflowers.
And that second layer just really does a good job of evening out and smoothing out your paints, right? And we talked about brushing edge to edge.
Yes.
And painting with the grain.
Yes.
The paint just really does go on more smoothly when you paint with the grain. You end up using less paint for full coverage when you do that. It's something that everybody should start doing. So we're going to set those pieces aside to dry, and Mackenzie actually is going to work on several projects while I work on my one. I must be a slow crafter, Mackenzie.
Well, I just had to add paint and glue them on to the backgrounds.
So I'm deciding which paper I want to put on each of my letters. And we do like using parchment paper for our paint because if we have extra, we can just kind of scoop it back into our bottles, and that way we're not wasting so much, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to go over top of my letters with Paint Couture's matte decoupage medium. This is going to adhere the paper to the paint. And I put a thin layer, then I'm smoothing that on. I don't use the iron method or anything because I don't mind wrinkles, and I'll set that aside to dry while I move on to the next piece. I'm really trying to make sure that my paper is lining up well with the letters. I did really good until I got to the L. That L. Mackenzie says it looks okay, but I feel like I should have centered the stars over the long column of the L. And Mackenzie, what are you up to here?
I am about to glue it on since I finished my sunflowers I can coat.
And while we're waiting on that, all that, you are already starting on a second project.
Yes.
And what were you doing there?
I was adding a turquoise color because I'm gonna use this sign and give it to my mom, and she really likes turquoise.
And that one also has some sparkle to it.
Yes.
Yes. And I'm going to use my sander. I'm going to trim around my shapes and my letters and even cut little slits where it needs to be just to make the sanding easier. And I'm going to use a downward only stroke to sand off the paper around the edges. And it was super easy to do on that star. Then it got a little more difficult with the other letters. Mackenzie watched me struggle. So it worked okay on the outside edge. I just used my gator sander on that. And then it was the inner pieces that were giving me trouble. I thought I could do just my little micro sander, but they were even too small for that. So Mackenzie, what are we up to over there with yours?
Now I'm gonna do one more thing to it. I decided to go with a little shading the colors together with pink and a purple. Well, I meant blue, not purple.
So all of these were pieces from a mystery kit that we got from Christina at the Rust Covered Cottage, and also extra pieces from kits that I've worked on in the past, right?
Yes.
And Mackenzie helped me sort all of them and baggy them up by like shapes. We just had a lot of fun today, didn't we?
Yes.
Yes. Meanwhile, I've got an emery board. So I'm using an emery board to sand out those inner pieces of the letters. And I started with just like a foam emery board and had to go and switch it out for my glass emery board that was thinner, because in the top section of that E, it was just really tight squeeze and I couldn't get the foam one through. And again, I'm trying very hard just to sand downward so that it doesn't lift the paper away from the wood. And Mackenzie?
And I started by painting the hello because I love the pink I use on the star, so I went ahead and used that pink on the hello. And I also have this lighter color I used for the sign I did before this one, and it was really beautiful, so I decided to also do a pink and a purple.
And I am continuing to work on those letters, and I was very lucky that I'd already had my emery boards over because I definitely needed them for the inner pieces of the N. I did cut slits down to make it easier, but it was still a tight squeeze. I mean, it worked, and I love, love, love how it turned out. And
I am now gluing on all the sunflowers and hello to my background.
And Mackenzie is using Titebond Glue, which a little goes a long way. So when it kind of rushed out of the bottle after squeezing and squeezing, we kind of used our fingers to spread that onto the second sunflower. And I'm still over there sanding.
And I finished with that glue, so now I'm gonna go ahead and now I actually decided to do a little bit of squares while that dries and waiting for the other paint on the other sign to dry so I can glue it to on.
And I'm going over top of my paper with another layer of the Decoupage medium from Couture, just to adhere all that, and I want to make sure that all the edges are sealed down and everything is going to stay in place for a long time to come.
And with the squirts, I decided to do this brownish gold and a blue and a purple and a green.
After that Decoupage medium dries, I'm going to go in with my Debi's DIY Dark Wax and give it a little bit of distressing.
Then I started adding my blue.
That's that same periwinkle, isn't it?
Yes.
So pretty. It's just a rich, rich color. So I'm gonna go around all the edges with my dark wax, and if I got it a little too heavy, I just wiped it back with my finger. It smooths on and off very nicely and just adds that subtle distressing, but I did go all the way around all of those letters. And then I'm going to go in with my favorite top coat, and that is Paint Couture's Dead Flat Top Coat. It takes out any shine that was left from the decoupage medium. Even though it is matte, I love super matte. So I put that on top, just a thin layer, and now I'm gonna add all of the 3 base pieces together. So I took the totally blank one, layered it on top of the one with the holes for the sign, and then I'm topping all that with the matching stained piece that I did, and giving everything a good dry before I try to place it all together.
Then I had trouble with the green, but I still managed to get the pinkish purple, which I love that color. The green was a little bit watery. Then I finally put my purple on, and that's my finished sign. That's the hello sign.
Yes, I love how her signs turned out. And here's my Noel. I got an up-close video. I hope that you enjoyed this video with us.
Bye.
Subscribe.